Yossel Hirsch was a Holocaust survivor who came over to the United States in the late 1940s. He found himself a job in a kosher bakery and very quickly became beloved by his employers, by the vendors, and by the customers. One day, one of the vendors who particularly loved Yossel, a fellow by the name of Moshe Kanteski, came over to him and said to him, "Yossel, you have so many talents. You're learning this business well. Why don't you open your own bakery?" He smiled and said, "I've thought about it many times, and I think it could really help my family. But at the same time, I don't have the capital. It costs tens of thousands of dollars to open a bakery." Moshe said to him, "Listen, Hashem has blessed me with success, and I have confidence that you can be successful as well. I'm willing to lend you $20,000, which in the late 1940s, early 1950s was a fortune." "Really?" Yossel said. "You have that much confidence?" "Yes," he said. And he lent him the $20,000. Yossel opened a bakery, which was very successful, and he was thrilled the day that he was able to pay back the $20,000 that he owed Moshe Kanteski. For many, many years, the two of them were the closest of friends. And eventually, Moshe was nifter. He went up to the world to come to Olam Ha'elyon. And Yossel went to the Levaya, a broken man. He was shattered about the loss of his very close friend, who had helped him in his greatest time of need. A number of years passed, and one day Yossel came home after a busy day, and he went to sleep. As he was sleeping, he had a dream. And in his dream, his old friend, his deceased friend, Moshe Kanteski, was there. And Moshe said to him, "Yossel." Yossel was very shaken, even in his dream, and he says, "Moshe, why are you contacting me? You're not alive anymore." He says, "I need a favor. I was there for you, and I helped you get you on your feet, and I was there to start you off. I need you to do a favor in return." Yossel said, "Just tell me what it is. Of course I'll do it." And Moshe shared that after he had passed, he left the business to his two sons, and there were some issues and there were some problems in the business, and the two sons got into a terrible feud, and they were not on talking terms. Moshe said to Yossel, "One of my sons is making a bar mitzvah very soon, and he didn't invite my other son. You can't imagine how much grief, how much agmas nefesh, how much pain this is causing me in Shamayim, that my two children are not on talking terms, and one is making a simcha and hasn't even invited his brother. Please," he said, try to see if you can make shalom. Try to see if both of my sons could be at the bar mitzvah." Yossel woke up, shaken, trembling, and he first dismissed the dream. But when he made some inquiries and found out that it was true, that the two brothers were not getting along with one another, he realized that he had a mission, and he realized he had to help his friend Moshe. He went to talk to the brother that was making the bar mitzvah. He called him up, and they reminisced about the wonderful times and what his father had meant to Yossel. And then he asked him how the business is doing, and he says, "The business, we had a lot of struggles, and it's my brother and this." And he said, "It's not really my brother, it's partially my brother, but it's really sad we're not on talking terms. But let's talk about something more positive and something more joyous." "Sure." Yossel said, "What do you want to talk about?" He goes, "I'm making a bar mitzvah and I would love you to come." He goes, "You're making a bar mitzvah? That's wonderful. Is your brother coming?" He says, "Sadly, I didn't even invite my brother because I think that if I invite him, he's just not going to come." "How do you know that?" Yossel said to him. Perhaps if you do invite him, he'll feel like you're making, you're reaching out to him. Maybe he would come." "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He says, let me take care of this." And Yossel took a page out of Aaron HaKohen's playbook, and he went to the other brother and he said to him, "I want you to know something. Your brother's making a bar mitzvah." He goes, "Yeah, he didn't even invite me." He says, "You know why he didn't invite you? He didn't invite you because he thinks you may not come, but he really wants you to come. He feels bad that the two of you don't get along." "Really?" he said. And he made the two of them reach out to one another, and they came to the bar mitzvah, and they were there b'simcha. They hugged one another. And while there was a tremendous simcha that day, because there was shalom at the bar mitzvah in Shamayim, they said shalom b'mroimav, there was the most incredible simcha, as Moshe Kanetsky looked down in this world and saw his two sons that were b'shalom. This Shabbos is the Ushpizin of Aaron HaKohen. Let's try to take a page out of the playbook of Yossel, out of Aaron HaKohen. Let's make sure that we have a Sukkos shalom, that our Sukkah has peace, it has shalom, on a Shabbos shalom, on a Shabbos of peace. Wishing each and every one of you a peaceful, wonderful Chol HaMoed Sukkos Shabbos.